is Carl with Tech Tips from Norfield. Today, we're going to be rebuilding the main valves on an older 1020 double-end trim saw. The main valves are located here on the back of the machine on the manifold. There are 5 of them. You have the jet air valve, saw valve, feed valve, clamp valve, and the other saw valve. So the first thing to do is obviously to turn off the air so there's no air in the machine, and then we're going to remove the valves from the manifold. So we're going to start by removing the valve from the manifold. So we're simply going to remove the 3 bolts that hold the valve to the manifold. So we'll remove the valve from the manifold and the O-ring gasket from the manifold. All right, so we've removed the valve from the manifold. Now we need to rebuild it. We'll come to the bench for that. First operation is to remove the end cap from the valve. We use a 5/32 Allen wrench. So remove the end cap and the gasket. Set that aside. Remove the second cap with its gasket. Center spool, this one's worn out so it falls out by itself. Outer spool. The O-rings that we will be replacing are the 6 O-rings on the outer spool and the 6 O-rings on the inner spool. So first we need to remove the O-rings from the spools. Remove the O-rings from the spools. We'll discard those, the old O-rings. Open the valve rebuild kit as supplied by Norfield. The rebuild kit is designed to rebuild the entire series of valves, not just this specific valve, so there are a few pieces that we will not need. So we need to sort out the pieces that we do need. The 2 gaskets, the 6 O-rings for the inner spool, the 6 O-rings for the outer spool, two O-rings for the air pilots, which we will rebuild soon. The snap rings, the white plastic pieces, and the spring are not necessary for this valve. So we'll reinstall the new O-rings. When installing the new O-rings, it is not recommended to use tools to install the O-rings. The metal tools may damage the O-rings as you're putting them on, so it is important to use your fingers only when installing the new O-rings. So we've replaced the O-rings on the outer spool and the inner spool. Both are ready to install into the body of the valve. So we'll use key lube grease, also supplied by Norfield. Put a little bit of key lube grease on the O-rings. This will pre-lube the valve so that it will operate until the lubricator has a chance to lubricate it. Insert the inner spool into the outer spool. A bit more grease. Insert the outer spool into the body. Set that aside for a minute. The end caps, discarding the old gasket. Remove the air pilot from the end cap. We're going to save the metal washer. To remove the O-ring from the air pilot. Install the new O-ring. A little bit of grease. Install the air pilot in the cap. Install the metal washer. Make sure it's down in the groove in the end cap. The other end cap. Remove the air pilot. Remove the old O-ring from the air pilot. Install the new O-ring. Small amount of grease. Install the air pilot in the end cap with the metal ring in the groove. The air pilots and end caps are now ready to install on the valve body. When reassembling the valve, to take the body, you will locate the small hole next to the spools. This is the air pilot hole. The gasket also has a matching hole in it. It needs to line up with the hole in the body. The end cap also has a matching hole that needs to line up with the holes in the body and the gasket. So, second end of the valve, same. Pilot in the body, pilot hole in the body. Lined up with the pilot hole in the gasket. Lined up with the pilot hole in the cap. This valve is ready to reinstall on the manifold. When reinstalling the valve on the manifold, we will discard the old O-ring for the manifold using a new one, and again with a little bit of pre-lube grease. Squish that all around and make it a little bit greasy all over. Insert it into the manifold. The grease not only helps it seal a little better, but it'll stick it into the manifold so it won't fall out. And we'll replace the valve on the manifold. The valve is reinstalled on the manifold. We just need to do it 4 more times.